welcome to Backstory with Joan Goldstein. I'm Joan Goldstein. My guest today is a woman from Ukraine. Her name is Nelli Goliyad. She is a teacher and a very, very interesting woman who is in touch with the world that she came from. And she's going to share that with us today. Nelli, what do you want to tell us?
So I have a lot what to tell, but maybe the most important thing today to tell about the suffering, to tell about my Ukraine. The Ukraine is in my heart. You know that now I live here in the United States of America in Princeton, but 4 years ago I lived in Ukraine, the capital of Ukraine, and the name of the city is Kyiv. And I was a teacher, the same as I am here. I'm here also a teacher, and I work in Southbound Brook as a teacher in Cultural Ukrainian Center. And this Cultural Ukrainian Center consists of the seminary, the church, and the Ukrainian school. And I had the possibility to work with the students, with the seminarians, on the one hand, and on the other hand with the students of Ukrainian school. And I teach the Ukrainian language and Ukrainian literature with the students of 7, 8, and 9th grade. But I want to tell you just some words about Ukraine, because some people don't know anything about this country. But Ukraine is a wonderful country. It is a nice country. It is a beautiful country. And some people think that Ukraine and Russian are the same country. Some think that the languages are the same, but Ukraine and Russia, these are different countries, because Ukraine got its independence in 1991, and since that time we tried to be free. We wanted to live and to build a country which will just be a democratic one. So we want to be just, but Russia wanted to put pressure on us. She always wanted to return Ukraine to its borders, but we didn't want. We wanted to be an independent country, as I mentioned before it. That's why everything happened to Ukraine. All these bombing, all these sufferings, this was the reason, I think.
And of course, you have been a democracy. You have a president, Zelensky, and you are trying to keep that democracy going, aren't you?
Yes, of course. We are proud of our president, and we consider him really to be a brave person, a courageous person. We respect him. And nowadays, you see so many problems we are having. Our kids get up in the morning and they go to bed just listening to the sounds, to the sirens of the bombs which Russian aggressors try to use in my country. And they killed a lot of people. And I want to tell you one story. So you know that they completely destroyed the maternity house where my son was born. And they completely destroyed school number 25 that he attended. And so how can it possibly to understand such a dictator, such a person who can do such things with peaceful people, who wanted to build a democratic state, who wanted to be happy, who wanted to bring up their children in a proper way? Why is it allowed for him to do such things? It seems to me that I hate this person. I don't know what to do, how to help my nation, how to help my people. And we were speaking with you, and I told you that Ukraine is a multinational country. I told you that there are representatives of different nationalities: the Ukrainians, the Russians, the Tatars, the Hungarians, the Jews, all nationalities. And we have always tried to support one another. We tried to be friendly. We tried to be the people of the world, you see, and we never thought that such terrible situation can happen with our children, with our elderly people, with our nations, with our Ukraine. It's impossible. It seems to me that my heart, I don't know if it is possible to say so. My heart is breaking. My heart is breaking. My soul is crying. And it seems to me that I'm crying from morning till night because I can't calm down myself. Because my friends, my colleagues, my nephew, my niece, they call me and they tell me that the Russian president behaves even worse than Hitler. You see, the situation is worse than it was during the Second World War.
You tell me that you talk to them every day.
Yeah.
And they're in Ukraine.
Yes, yes.
And so you're keeping up with what's going on in their lives.
I know everything. And I have a friend of mine. She lives in Western Ukraine. And in Western Ukraine, they do not do any bombing, you see. And they take care of one child from the central Ukraine. But this child is he is 5 years old. And he is so much afraid that when the hostess wanted to invite him to go inside, he answered, "Oh, no, I will not go. I am afraid of bombing. I will not go." And this boy has been living in this family for 6 days, and he is afraid to leave the house. Can you imagine it? The kid is 5 years old. How can we understand it?
Yes, those are very, very strong examples. And also, there have been children killed.
Yeah, a lot of children. I even know the number of children. It seems to be it is 191 children are killed, and more than 3,000 people are killed. And such cities as Mariupol, Kharkiv, and Chernihiv, these cities are besieged. People live in bomb shelters. They do not have what to eat. They do not have what to drink. The situation is getting worse and worse with every passing day. And the Russian invaders don't want to open green corridors for the people. You see, they have to sit there. They have to sit there without any water, without electricity, without food. So I don't know how the Russian aggressors will be able to explain their behavior just in a month, in 2 months, in a year, in some years. How they will be able to explain to us? How will they be able to explain to the peaceful people of the world their terrible, horrible behavior? I don't know.
And her talk today about our president wanting to support humanitarian aid. And and you're describing humanitarian need very, very much down to the survival of people, don't you? Okay, so you've been engaged though in trying to help. You haven't been doing nothing. You've been very busy trying to help. Tell us. I went with her to a rally.
We went
in Princeton.
We went and we were together, and there were many people. It was last Sunday. Yes, it was last Sunday. And so we were collecting some money, and this money will be used just for helping and for supporting Ukrainian kids and Ukrainian soldiers. And one man, I don't know exactly his name, but he told me that they were going to buy, I don't know how is it called, a bulletproof vest. A bulletproof vest. So, and he called me and he told that they bought this vest and they are going to send it to Ukrainian soldiers. Of course, it's not a lot, but drop to drop. And we will be able to help Ukraine. We will be help to survive some people, and we will be able to win this aggression. Because God is on our side. God is on our side. And I want to tell you something else. You know that I work at the Ukrainian Cultural Center, and they also try to do a lot of work. I know that they have already collected $1,280,000. and they sent this money to support Ukraine. And by the way, they take care of orphanage, and they saved the lives of 29 children. They sent them to Poland, and now these children safe. You see, it's just the work of our Orthodox Church in America. It's Ukrainian Orthodox Church in America, and it is headed by Metropolitan Anthony and Archbishop Daniel, wonderful people, devoted people. They just try to do their best. They address all countries. They address different societies. They have business trips to different countries and try to persuade, try to explain everything about the situation in our motherland.
Yes.
I am a little bit emotional, excuse me, please, because you see, I'm suffering so much. I can't come down myself. Excuse me, please. I'm so maybe.
No, if you didn't have this emotion, I would wonder why. Because it's your world. It's your people.
Yes, these
And
are my people.
Yes, of course.
I am crying.
Yes, and you get these phone calls, or you make these phone calls every single day to your niece.
Yeah, to my niece. I have a niece and a nephew, and by the way, I have my colleagues, and now, in order to save their lives and the lives of their children, they went to Western Ukraine. You see, Lviv, Zakarpattia, they went to these places, and their husbands, their brothers, they stayed in Kiev, and they tried to protect the people from the enemies. You see?
Okay. Yes. Now you want to address the American people. What do you want?
I want to tell them just maybe to support us, maybe to support in these terrible days. Maybe they are able to address their governments, their government, maybe the president, maybe the mayors of the city. I don't know, maybe the authority of their small cities and villages, and to ask them to cover the sky over Ukraine, to cover it, because the Russian aggressors want to destroy the Ukrainian nation. They want to destroy it completely to the very end. And I don't know the way out if people of the world, if American people, or if they do not help us in this terrible, in this horrible situation. I think that all of you have hearts, and you understand that our children, our elderly people are dying every minute, every second. So I want you to help, maybe morally, maybe you can collect some money, maybe you can fundraise just medicine. Everything will be very good. And these are my words.
Yes. And you did give some interesting background on Ukraine. You said it was independent in 1991, right? And then there was an invasion, though, of other countries, Crimea, Donetsk.
Yeah, you're quite right. So on the 24th of February, they started the aggression, invasion into Ukraine. But before it was a big preparation. They started just their aggressive policy 8 years ago. At first, they invaded the Crimea. It was Ukrainian territory. And after that, they invaded the Donetsk region and Luhansk region. And you can't even imagine what they were doing. They handed out Russian passports to the Ukrainian citizens. You see, they made them get Russian passports. And in such a way, they wanted to show their force that they can invade anybody, anything, any country they want. You see? Where is the way out? How can they be punished? And especially this dictator, Mr. Putin. We call him Putler. We call him Putler. We do not call. And we decided to write his name not in the letter of uppercase, but lowercase letter. So you see, not with a capital letter. We decided to write just in a lowercase letter his name. We hate him.
Yes. And there's also been a lot of people leaving the country, going into Poland. So what, 2 or 3 million people have gone into Poland.
So they became refugees.
They became refugees. So this is another outcome of the war. There's so many refugees, and then they're going into Romania now.
Yeah.
And Bucharest, where I have been, where my family originally came from, and I visited some years ago. So they're in Bucharest, they're in Poland. There are huge numbers of refugees.
No, huge number of refugees. It's a pity, but you can't even imagine how wonderful Ukraine was. A lot of beautiful museums, churches, picture galleries, libraries. This country is really wonderful, you see, and wonderful architecture. And they are destroying everything. Why? Yes, they are bombing. So they are bombing. So such city as Mariupol doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist. All the buildings, theater, everything is destroyed. So I know it for sure. I know it for sure. Everything is destroyed.
Well, we hoped that we would never face this again. And here we are. Yeah.
I hope.
We hope we don't, and we certainly don't want another world war. So what they've been asking NATO, and you mentioned that, was creating a no-fly zone.
Yes, a no-fly zone.
Yes,
it will be very good
if they can do that, but they're not sure they can.
Yes, they are afraid of this Putin. They're afraid of him. They're afraid that he would be able to start nuclear war. So they're afraid of him. But the Ukrainian nation is disappearing. It's a genocide of the Ukrainian nation, you see? So I don't know what's the way out. But the Ukrainian soldiers, the Ukrainian people, and even small children, they are sure that we will survive. We will win the aggressor. And I hope that it will be just like a resurrection of our nation, a resurrection of all people, of all Ukrainians who live in this wonderful land. The land of history, the land of Asian customs and traditions, the land of hospitable, tolerant, patient people, hardworking people. So I hope that we will be able to survive. There is such motto, glory to Ukraine. Do you want to know how it sounds in Ukrainian? It sounds like Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini. Slava, Slava Ukraini. Glory to Ukraine. Slava Ukraini.
Yes. Now, is there anything that we can do, meaning Americans, or can we try to get our president? He's going to Poland tomorrow. He's going to be in Poland.
It seems to me that he is in Poland. Yes, he is in Poland, because I just before coming here, I watched TV program, and it seems and it was said that he is in Poland now. He is in Poland now, but he told that he is going to help with dollars, with money, but about closing the sky, nothing was told. Nothing was told.
Well, that's a more complex issue, isn't it? The no-fly zone. This is what NATO is hesitating about as well. Yes. It's a step that they seem unable to take, or and yet, if there was a no-fly zone, how would that be translated in behavior? What would happen if we had a no-fly zone?
If they cover the sky over Ukraine, I'm sure that we will be able to punish these aggressors, to punish them, and just to drive them out. Is it possible to say so? To drive them out.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's possible
So
to say
it is
that.
possible. So we will be able to drive them out. But if the sky will not be covered, I don't know, it will be a lot of time and the people will be suffering. So, and the people will be dying and the kids will be dying and the elderly people will be suffering. So all Ukrainian people, our president, ask him, ask NATO, ask all American society to help us to close, to cover the sky over Ukraine. And in such a way, we will be able to survive.
Very interesting.
Oh,
Now, Nelly, tell us more about yourself as a teacher. You've been a
Oh.
teacher your whole life, right?
yes, I'm a teacher. So in Kyiv, I worked in one of the most prestigious schools. It's in the center of Kyiv. It's school number 155. And I worked with the students, and I have always taught them to be patriots of our country. I taught them to follow certain moral values. And but it was I told you it was 4 years ago. Now I'm here in Princeton, and I'm so happy that I have the possibility to continue my teaching career. And I told you that I work at the seminary 5 days per week from Monday till Friday. And I am happy with them because they are very, very, very nice young men who just understand how it is necessary to behave in this world, how to bring up other people. So, and on Saturday, I have classes with the students of a Ukrainian school, and I teach, as I've already told, the students of the 7, 8, and 9 grade. They are really wonderful because they want to know their roots, Ukrainian roots. They want to know just customs and traditions of their country, and they are interested in learning Ukrainian language. And you know, there are the Ukrainians can boast the names of the famous poets, writers, and it seems to me that everybody knows the name of the famous footballer player, Shevchenko. Do you know? You don't know, you're not interested, but it seems to me that if the men are watching our program, everybody who is interested in football and soccer, they know the name of this person. And we have just a singer, Ruslana, who got the first prize during Eurovision. And we can boast such a famous Ukrainian writer as Taras Grigorovich Shevchenko, who contributed much to the development of Ukrainian literature, and he considered to be one of the most famous writers, poets, artists of the world. So Ukrainian nation is very, very, very rich, and in its having wonderful people who became who became very important, and we can be proud of a lot of people in our motherland, you see. So that's why it is very difficult to understand why Putin and his troops want to destroy our cities, our culture, our village, our people, our hearts, our souls. But we will survive. I know it. We will win. I know it. I'm sure we will. And we will win only if you help us, if you support us, if American people will become our real friends and will help us to put an end of this terrible and horrible war.
Nelli Goliyad, how wonderful to have you here today to share what people could never know, because because they don't come from your country, or except some do.
Mhm.
And the world that you're looking at, the world you're trying to care about and understand. And so we are also trying to understand Ukraine and what can happen and identify with the world. As you said, it's the largest country in Europe, isn't it?
It's in Europe. It is the largest country
Yeah,
in
it's the
Europe.
largest country
And
in
it is
Europe.
in the center of Europe. It's in the. It is bigger than France. It is bigger than Great Britain. It is bigger than Romania. It's the biggest country in Europe. You see, really.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you've shared so much with us, and I hope that people here can feel what Nellie feels, or some of her feeling, and perhaps can understand some way that we can be of help to you or to your country.
Mm-hmm.
So Nelli Goliyad, thank you so much for coming to Backstory with Joan Goldstein.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Glory to Ukraine.
Glory to
Glory to
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to you. Glory to America.